everybody, this is the last video for Learning Target 2.1, solving one variable equations. And this is for part D when there are multi-step equations. So this is the toughest type of problem. We're combining everything that we've learned. And what I'd like to do in this top box is list all of our steps, because the order that we try to tackle these problems and solve these equations definitely matters. If you look at these examples, you see one piece that's new that was not in part C, and that would be these parentheses. In example 1, I see 4 times parentheses with some stuff in them. Hopefully this is looking familiar. We learned that when you see a number times parentheses, we have to do that distributive property. So our very first step is going to be to distribute. So first step, distribute. Once we distribute, our second step is going to be to combine like terms. So combine your constants, combine your variables. And again, we're doing that on the same side, whatever you can combine on the same side. Then you will have to start moving stuff. So this is when we will move x's to one side and constants to the other side. And again, we do that here by adding, we'll say, or subtracting, right? We have to use the inverse operations. And then we can finally get x by itself. By dividing. Get x by itself by dividing. So we first distribute. Second, we combine like terms. And again, we're combining on the same side of the equal sign. You can't just start moving stuff wherever you want. In order to move stuff to the other side, you have to move x's to one side and constants to the other side, and we do that by using our inverse operations, by adding or subtracting here. And then our very last step, we can get x by itself by dividing. If you have a number times x, you have to divide to get x by itself. So this is a refresher. We've done all of these steps. The new part today is we're putting them all into the same problem. So let's look at example 1. We're asked to solve the equation. And right away, I know I have to do distributive property. I have 4 times parentheses. So I'll write my 84. That's not going anywhere. 84 equals. And I need to do 4 times 1. And I also need to do 4 times n. Keep in mind, these are 2 different terms. You have to distribute the 4 to both parts. So 4 times 1 gives me 4. 4 times n gives me 4n. And then don't forget to bring down this plus 6n at the end. I distributed. Now I get to combine like terms. I see that I have a 4n and a 6n. So I have 84 equals 4. 4n plus 6n gives me 10n. Now I need to move x's to one side and constants to one side. And in this case, I can see that I only have, in this case, I won't say x's, I'll say n's. In this case, I already have my n's right here all by themselves, but I see that I have constants on both sides of the equal sign. So I want to move this positive 4 over so that it can be on the same side as the 84. And I can do that by subtracting 4 from both sides. So then I'm left with 10n equals 84 minus 4 gives me 80. And now I would be on my last step because I have n's on one side, constants on one side. So now I can get my variable by itself by dividing. So I can divide by 10, and I get n equals 80 divided by 10 gives me 8. Let's look at example 2. So in example 2, I need to first distribute. I have to distribute not just a 4, but this whole thing here, this whole negative 4. Keep in mind, you have to keep the sign in front of the number. So I'm distributing negative 4 to both parts inside parentheses. So I'll keep the x out front. Negative 4 times negative 4x gives me a positive 16x. Negative 4 times 7 gives me a negative 28. and it's equal to 11 plus 4x. That the second part, or the right side of the equal sign, didn't change at all. I can combine a 1x and a 16x. 1x plus 16x gives me 17x minus 28 equals 11 plus 4x. Now I need to start moving stuff. I want to get my x's to the same side. So I'm going to move a positive 4x by subtracting 4x from both sides. So now I'm left with just an 11 over here. 17x minus 4x gives me 13x. And I still have the constant minus 28. So now my x's are on the same side, but I need to get constants on the same side. So I can do that by adding 28 to each side. And I get 13x equals 11 plus 28 gives me 39. Last step, divide by 13 on each side. And I get x equals 3. Two more examples. Example 3. I see now I'm doing the distributive property over here on the right side. So I'm doing -2 times both parts, or -2 times both terms inside the parentheses. The left side of my equal sign stays the same. -30 plus 5b equals -2 times -7 gives me a positive 14. -2 times -8b gives me positive 16b. Now I want to move my b's to the same side. It doesn't matter if you move your b's to the left side or to the right side. That's definitely your preference. Let's move b's to the right side. So we could do -5b minus 5b. So then I'm left with -30 equals 14. -16b minus 5b gives me a positive 11b. Now I need to, if b's are on the right side, I need to get constants moved to the left side. So in order to move a positive 14, I need to subtract 14 from each side. -30 minus 14 gives me -44, equal to my 11b. Very last step. In order to get rid of this 11 times b, I need to divide by 11. That's why I get b equals, and then -44 divided by 11 is -4. All right, example 4, last one. Distributive property first. So I need to do 7 times -7 and 7 times 8m. 7 times -7 is -49. 7 times 8m is 56m. And don't forget to bring down that plus m right there. It's easy to forget. And then on the right side of my equal sign, it stays the same. 2 plus 6m. Step 2, look to see if you can combine like terms. I have a 56m and a 1m. So that gives me -49 plus 57m. 56 plus 1 is 57. My right side of the equal sign is staying the same. Now let's start moving stuff around. Let's move m's to the left. And again, I'm going to move the 6m to the left hand side of the equal sign. But if you want to move the 57m to the right, that's fine too. You'll get the same answer at the end. You just need to pick one side of the equal sign for your variables and one side for your constants. So if I'm moving a positive 6m, I need to subtract 6m from each side. So on the right, I'm left with 2. And on the left, I have this constant, -49 out front. Can combine my m's. 57m minus 6m gives me plus 51m. Now I need to get this -49 to be on the same side over here with the constant, so I can do plus 49 plus 49. I get 51m equals 51. So then when I end up dividing by 51 on each side, I'm left with m equals 1. All right, so at this point, I'd like for you to pause the video and try these two problems. Click play to see how you did. For the first U try, I ended up getting n equals -3. And for the second U try, I got r equals 0. The part that was a little bit tricky about this one is that when you get to this point, you have negative 18r equals 0, and you're not done yet. You still have to divide by negative 18, and 0 divided by anything is always 0. So don't be alarmed when you get 0 as an answer. That's totally fine. So this finishes up our learning target 2.1. Please let me know what questions you have.